Welcome. Thanks everyone for attending this virtual CEDIA 2020. And my name is Seth Enos, and I'm the product manager for D-Tools System Integrator software, or SI as we call it. And today I'm going to be giving you an overview of System Integrator. From start to finish, we're going to go through the product. We won't be able to show everything, but hopefully I'll be able to talk about everything. And I'll also be showing some of the new features in version 14 that we released last month. So a little bit about D-Tools. So D-Tools is the company. System Integrator is the software. We've been around over 20 years, and we sell all over the world, and we've helped thousands of companies win more jobs, win bigger jobs, produce professional documentation, really just improve their business process. And how we do that is with this software. What System Integrator is, it is a estimating, design, and project management software for system integrators. Any sort of low voltage systems that you do, you can quote out of our software, complete drawings in Visio or AutoCAD. We have an extensive library of shapes and blocks that we've created over the years, as well as a lot of industry standard shapes and blocks in both Visio and AutoCAD. And all of this links back to our product data. So those shapes are smart, and they can react to the inputs and outputs for a product, or the height, width, and depth. And really, that's how you get started with our software. Is you build a catalog of the products you sell. You create a project, add items to your bill of materials, and then, of course, it's up to you when and if you do drawings. But if you do, we have those tools available to you. Some drawings are great in the sales process. Some are more geared for the engineering of the project, and you might not do that, of course, until you win the project. And then after winning the project, we have a purchase order module in the software, scheduling for scheduling the install. We call those tasks. You can create change orders in the software. Once it's been sold, any changes must be put on a change order, whether they're an internal change order or an external change order, something that your client requested. We also have service plans in our software, and I'm sure many of you are hearing it more and more, AV as a service. And so these service plans can help you with that, where you're not just selling essentially a system or a bucket of parts. You can sell the service involved in that, whether it's yearly wellness checks or X amount of hours per quarter allocated for any sort of maintenance calls out there, updating software, just in general, anything. Or if something breaks, of course, we have service orders for that, for the technicians to be able to go out in the field and react to the problem, enter it in our web interface, which is called Mobile Install, and all of that information can synchronize right back down to System Integrator. We also integrate, have a lot of third-party integrations, one of the most popular being QuickBooks for accounting. That is one thing that you will see SI does not do, is accounting. We're not invoicing out of our software or tracking payments that have been received. That's definitely an accounting tool, and we're not geared to do that. But we do integrate the QuickBooks, like I said, for that. You can always export the data out and import it into whatever accounting software you're using. So a little bit about this last release, V14. We did a complete new updated UI. We revamped our what we used to call dashboards, which were essentially charts in the software. We renamed that to Business Analytics, and we expanded it quite a bit. It used to only cover projects and project items. Now you can run analytics across your clients, service orders, service plans, purchase orders, tasks, change orders. You can get all the information that you need in a nice view in the software. There's some improved sales management. Now, another thing I will say, SI is really not a CRM solution for managing your clients, although clients are a big part of our software. But for years, it was really a name, an address, some notes, maybe and contacts of who you deal with within, say, a organization, the client. Of course, clients in the Resi world are often the people themselves. So we've always had that in the software, but now, and everybody was just considered a client. You entered them in, they're a client, whether or not you ever wanted project with them or not. So now we've added just, some new fields for leads and prospects. So when you enter a new client, they're a lead until you create a project for them. Then they become a prospect or an opportunity, we'll call it. They themselves become a prospect. Then when you win the project, they become a client. And you can manage all that in the software. And we also added another field for lead sources. So you're able to track that and view that data, see where you're getting your business from. We added customizable checklists in this last release, which is great for projects, tasks, and service orders. And they're just completely customizable lists, electronically checkable, either directly in System Integrator, or if they're on tasks and service orders, your technicians in the field can check these lists off in our mobile install interface that I mentioned earlier. And we also added Gantt charts in this last release. We had those many years ago when we were on a different platform, but when we rebuilt the software, I don't even know, I think it was 2013 when we did that, we removed Gantt charts for this new platform. We revamped those and they're now back in the software, and we even worked in the ability to use checklists on a Gantt chart to quickly create a large list of tasks to help you plan your job. So, all right, now we're just going to jump right into a demo. All right, so let's pull up the software here. And this is System Integrator V14. The way our software works is one piece is installed on a server, and then on everybody's machine, you install a client, and the client connects out to the server where all of your data is centrally managed. And we're going to be talking a lot about data today. But I just wanted to show you the new look here. Now, I know this might be a mixed crowd of attendees. Some of you may already be using SI. Some of you may be brand new to us, or you've looked at us in the past. So this will be a general overview of the software, as well as some of those new features as well. But for those of you that have seen our software before or are currently using, this is the new look. We cleaned up our icons. They were very colorful in our last release. I always refer to them as like the Willy Wonka software, with all these buttons everywhere and lots of colors. I mean, every color under the rainbow up there for different modules. And we paired that back to give it a cleaner look. We also just going to take you over here very quickly to where I manage projects here in the Project Explorer, and just show you the new ribbon layouts. What we did is we took a lot of common features that can be that usually you have to do many clicks to get to. For instance, this quick filter. It's a very handy tool all throughout the software to be able to filter down whatever view you're looking at, whether it's projects or it's data, but that only used to exist on like one of these tabs up here. You would go to layouts, for instance, and realize you need to filter and then have to bounce back. So you'll notice that from here over, actually, I think it's from here over in this view, all of these are repeated on each tab, the very common features you would use out here. We also used to have a settings tab here, that explicit settings tab that you would go to if you wanted to change any of your default settings inside of SI. We've now put that at the end of every single ribbon. So you have a nice list here that you can access easily no matter where you are in your view. Okay, so well, while we're here inside of the software, what I'm going to talk about with you first is data, product data. So big part of the software, you have to put in here what you sell. And so that is managed out in our catalog. We have three major entities in our software out here: products, labor items, and packages. Packages being groupings of these two other things. Let's go to manage products. This will be the largest part of your database will be products. And this is, the products that you sell. So how do you get products in here? Well, you can easily enter a product. Hit the new button. It'll open a window, and you're able to enter in the information here. We really only require 3 fields. manufacturer, model, and category. But of course, there's a ton more fields in here that you're going to want to fill in along these tabs. And how much you fill in really depends on what you're going to use our software for. You know, if you're just bidding, once you get past this price tab or get this filled in, you're pretty much ready to go. You know, start adding to the project. If you're going to be doing drawings, you might want to put your specifications in there and then your inputs and outputs. That's assuming you're hand entering a part. You can also import a spreadsheet from you know, other software into ours. You just have to map the fields. We'll pull that information and then you can further edit those. But to really get a head start is, you know, we've been around, like I said, over 20 years. We have partnerships with a ton of manufacturers out there, and we provide our users their data. You're able to download the products and directly into our software, set your pricing, and then from there, build your projects. And that's our library interface up here. You can add from the D-Tools library. And I'm going to go ahead and pull that up here. So this is our library here, and this is a list of all the manufacturers that we have available to you over here. Now that's the D-Tools library. All the data that we've taken the time over the years to build out here. It's constantly being updated, hundreds of thousands of products. But we also partnered with some other data providers. And so if you're a Portal.io dealer or user, you can put a key in out here and see the data they have available for download. There's PSA for the security industry, and there's AVIQ out here as well. And these are separate data sources that someone else is maintaining, not D-Tools. These entities are, but if you're members of these organizations, you can download that data, assuming you can't find it in ours. A lot of it will be repeated. We have a lot of those same products in ours as well. So to download, or if you just take a look at this view here, I've filtered down to Origin Acoustics here, and you can decide how many records you want to see per page. You can click the download button to download one. If it's already in your catalog, you'll see right here it says matched. If it says new, that simply means it's not in your catalog. It doesn't mean it's new to the market. It could be a year old out here. That something that you're selling that you found, you still use this product. It'll still always say new if it doesn't exist in your data. If you want to download something, you can also just drag it over here, and you can see that that just downloaded to my local catalog. So let's have a look at it, and we'll talk a little bit more about these fields before we move on to projects. So when this edit product dialog opens, let me pull it over here. You'll see these are the fields. This was just directly downloaded. So we have an image here. This is useful for reporting. Those will, if you choose to show images next to your items on your proposals, you have that option. Of course, you see your category, subcategory. A couple of descriptions here, short and long, and it's up to you if you want to edit this or pare it down a little bit, but depending on what you're generating your reports for, you might pick or choose one of these descriptions. The price tab here. So this didn't come down with any pricing. This one happened to have an MSRP on it. Not everything will. Not a lot of manufacturers like to provide MSRP for some reason. And what you're seeing here is I have 3 price levels showing. We call them price types. And I've named them retail, builder, and custom. You can have up to 12 of these in this list. You can manage those right here. Check them off and give them a name, and we'll add more fields for you out here. You can also just have one price level if you want. Just show one. It's my cost and price. And then on a per project basis, you can decide if you're going to add a discount or change the price should you choose to. But this is what you're going to want to set here: your unit cost, your unit price. Verify what came down here. This says it's part of the finish phase at half an hour of install. This is how labor is charged in SI, at least the primary way. The other way is labor items that I mentioned earlier. Another part of your catalog, you can build something like this that is, instead of a product, a labor item, say for programming, and you can add those to projects as well. But each item can charge its own labor. And in this case, I have my labor rate set behind my phases. The default 3 that we used, rough and trim and finish, those are what you'll see when you download from D-Tools. But I've added a few more over the years out here for other things, again, like labor items and things like that. But I have labor rates set here. How much do I charge an hour for finish work? What does it cost me? What do I charge for it? And that came down as a half an hour, and I might disagree with that and say I put an hour on all these. So, and it will appropriately charge your labor when you add this to a project. We have an order tab here to set a vendor. Again, we do have a purchase order module in here, so you're welcome to set a vendor in here if you want to. You can change the units if you buy it in different units than you sell, like a pair of speakers, but you sell them singly. You'd set that up here. Specifications. So this gets into the drawing side of things. This came down with height, width, depth, and weight. Great. I can now do a elevation drawing in Visio or AutoCAD very easily by dragging and dropping, and we'll scale a shape appropriately for you based on height and width. We have the inputs and outputs. I mentioned these earlier. These are for doing schematic drawings in our software, either Visio or AutoCAD, and actually making wire connections with our wire shapes between devices that you can report off of. So you're not just drawing a picture, you can run wire checklist reports, wire label reports, all based off of the data that we have. So a lot of fields here. One also to mention is accessories. If I wanted to accessorize this item with another product, I can. Could be an optional item that comes with this. It could be the wiring. I need a couple cables in here. It could be anything. It's something that you don't want to forget. And accessories are great because that's what they do. They help you not forget the little bits and pieces on a project that can cost you money. And I don't just mean money. Okay, we forgot to sell these 2 cables to the client. Okay, we're going to eat that cost. It's not just the price of the cables. It's getting to the job site and not having everything the team needs to complete the job. That's what really costs you the money, the labor. Even if they have to get in the van and drive half an hour away to pick up 2 cables and half an hour back, there's an hour of labor right there gone, just because didn't have the parts in. So our software helps with that. So let's go ahead and close out of this part. I won't be using that in today's examples. And let's go back here. We'll go back to projects, talk a little bit about these. So really, I mean, once you've built your catalog and you start bringing in your clients or your leads or your prospects, you want to create projects for them. And these are what you're trying to win in the software. And the project has a lot of information in it, but primarily what it is, it's a bill of materials. It's the bucket of parts. We just like to organize those parts very nicely for you. So when you're presenting to your clients or even internally, you have nice groupings in there. So to create a project, you go to create new, and this is going to open up a dialog. It's probably going to open on my other screen, and it did. Here it is. New project wizard. So we do require 2 fields here, a client and a project name. Everything else is optional. You may not know a lot of this stuff at this point. I don't know who the designer is. I haven't won the job, or the project manager. You know, these can all come later. But while you're out here, you can set an estimated close date. This can be used in sales forecasting. You can also set a status here, and you'll notice over here, this is probability of 30%. That's something that you set. So it's a new thing in V14 that we added, a new feature of this probability percentage for any open states. So we have 4 states here: open, won, completed, or lost. Then you have your list over here that you can name them whatever you want, but they're going to be set to a state. And while it's open, you can set this percentage. And this is just an example that we have here. It's how confident are you that you're going to close this job. That way it helps with your forecasting when you're looking at our business analytics that we're going to get to. So there's a lot of steps in here. You know, set your taxes, the address information, any other resources from your company. But there's 2 steps further down that are really useful to do in the beginning if you know this information, meaning you've had a talk with the client, maybe you've even done a walkthrough and taken your notes. But what those are locations and systems. Locations and systems are the 2 really major groupings inside of our projects, and most of our users are presenting that way, either by location or by system, or a combination of the 2, by location, by system, or by system, then by location. For instance, you know, this is the audio video system, and here are the rooms that have that data in there, and then we list the products for each room. It's really up to you how you group your reports and how you present, and it will change client to client. I'm certain of that. I see it all the time. Depends on what they need to see, what's important to them. But you will set up your location lists at some point in a project. It's just, you will. Now, systems are optional, but it's a nice way to stay organized. Even if your clients never see the breakdown of AV versus control versus lighting, they may just see the parts per location because that's how you present to them, but you'll at least have that designated in the software. So I do want to cancel this, and I'm going to pull up a mostly completed project here. because we are limited on time. So this is the project editor interface. So this is your bill of materials. And so, as I said, this is mostly done. There's a bunch of stuff already in here. What I want to point out to you is over here, this is the location list for this project, and this is the system list. So that's what would have been done either in that wizard, or once you've opened the project, you can always come here to manage your locations and add these out. What you're seeing here is a hierarchy. I have 4 levels showing. First the campus, then the building, then the floor, then the room. Now, this was a quick example that we put together here. So the intent here meaning there must be more than one building then, or I wouldn't identify the campus. Or there's more than one campus in here. So it's up to you what levels you want to put in here. Oftentimes it's just a straight list of rooms. Very common on the commercial side. We see that. It's just, here's the room list. We know the building. We know what we're doing, but here's this, or it'll be floors and then rooms. But in residential, oftentimes I see the 3-level method out here: the buildings, the floors, and the rooms, because as you know, in residential, it's very common to have multiple buildings. The main house, guest house, detached garage, pool house, carriage house, you name it. Tons of buildings, guard house. So you can identify those out here. And really, I mean, this is just an organization tool for you and a presentation tool. So as I'm adding products, I'm assigning them to a location. So let's do that. Let's add something here. I'm going to, wait, not that room. Let's do this one. And it's part of the audio video system. Now you can add to multiple at a time. I could check all of the rooms where I want this device to go, and it will add to the project. So to add to the project, one method here are my explorers over here, my 3 parts of the catalog: products, labor items, and packages. So if I go to products here, we'll pull this out, and I'm gonna do a quick search for a display device, and I'm gonna take one of these and drag it over. So I'll take it and drag it, drop it. It is going to be assigned to that computer instruction lab, and it will be a part of my system. Now, again, let me pull this over. Wrong screen. This came up after I added this to the project. This is a prompt for accessories. So this particular TV or display device have these 2 wires associated with it. So if I want them, I'll just hit add and close. They're pre-checked for me, and that's just all part of your setup. I could have them unchecked if I wanted to. Or oftentimes what's nice when you're setting up your accessories, you might have a primary go-to, let's say a mount for this. This is the one I almost always use, an articulating mount. But in there, I also have just a tilt and a fixed, just because some applications will call for that, and then I can check those as needed. So accessories, huge part of our software here. And then I mentioned them earlier, but you can also add packages to the software. Packages just kind of take a product with accessories to another level. It's a grouping of those that you could put in here to be like, a home theater, and I have all these parts in here, or I've got my good, better, best systems, if you want, or my configurations that I can add to a project. So this TV was added to the project. It lists here. Its accessories lists beneath it. Can be collapsed when needed, and you can collapse everything in this list to view. You can change your view out here. What we're looking at here now is my preferred view. I like to see everything, and it's just the way I tend to operate. But a very popular view for our users is the item summary view. Here, we ignore locations and system groupings for the most part, unless you choose to show them. As you can see here, I did. It's a new feature in V14 to be able to group those out here. This used to be a flat list. We also allow you now to display packages in this list, and it basically gives you your counts, and you're able to increase or decrease the quantities. Let's, for instance, I've got these speakers here. There's 18 of them. I want to add a few more. If I hit this, it's essentially cloning those items. And do I want them in the same location? How many? Or do I want to choose each location and pick their quantity? Very quickly can change this. So that's just a different view out here, just so you know. And of course, if you click on any of these links, it drills you down further. These are my 2 screens in this job. There they are. Notice their accessories listed in this filter, and that's all settings. You can see, if I don't want to include child items, I can take those out. We have a lot of flexibility in here. So let me reset my filter, and we'll go back to my preferred view here, and let's clear that filter one more time. Okay. So that's some basics of projects. So I know, again, with the time we have, it is a drag and drop interface. But before I forget, I do want to show you reporting, and then we'll move on to some other features. So here's the project. We have the ability to run client reports, management reports, and installation reports. Installation reports are based off of the drawings in Visio or AutoCAD should you choose to do those. We're going to take a look at a client report here. And this is a default list that we have here in the software. I have one custom one in here that I was messing around with, but everything else here is shipped with the software. These are our defaults. I'm going to choose this proposal with images, and I'm going to run it by location. These are my definitions down here. And the definitions not only dictate how it groups, but how it runs. So if you edit this definition at any time, very useful because you might have a client where you know they're going to be very nitpicky about every little tiny detail. So maybe I don't want to show them everything. Maybe I want to hide my accessories, little bits and pieces of the, why am I being charged for this? You can summarize all your accessories, none of them, or you can do it on a per item basis. That's usually the most popular because there'll be some items you do want to show, some you don't. Same with packages. Am I showing the detail or not? Am I showing pricing? Do I want to show item pricing next to each line item on my proposal? Now, obviously, sometimes you have to. Depends on how you're bidding this and who your client is. But really, you don't want to give your clients a shopping list, or your competitors for that matter, a shopping list from you of, hey, this is my pricing and here's my entire parts list. That's why it's good to be able to collapse certain things like packages. You got to think you're not selling the client parts. You don't do that. You sell them systems, right? You're selling them solutions. And so do you really want to show the price for every single item? It's up to you, and of course what your client demands. But if you guys don't know this, or everyone on the line, I've done a lot of on-site trainings over the years. I used to be in our professional services team, and I've trained a lot of system integrators all around the country and world even. And in almost every one of those on-site trainings, we start to look at a project, maybe one that they're currently working on. Okay, this is one we want to bid on. Let's start there. And what do? They show me their competitors' bids that the client gave them, copies of them at least. And it's always interesting. I'm like, oh wow, look at how much information they're providing on this. And they're like, yeah, we can base it off of this. It's like, oh wow. So just be careful how much information you're sharing. That's my point. And we just give you the flexibility to show or hide. Again, it's not lying. The total price is fine. You just don't get to see the details. And I'll stop rambling about that and run this report. So this is a proposal with images grouped by location for this project, and it's going to generate, and we'll have a look. And all of our reports are customizable. There's a built-in report designer inside of SI that you can use to modify these as needed, or you can work with our professional services team. So, sorry, it was other screen. Here it is. So this is a cover page. You can change the image per project as needed. And of course, you can change your themes of colors and all that in the software. I grouped this by location, so that's what the software did. And here's my parts listed here. Now, in this case, I'm showing pricing, as you can see. The asterisk here indicates, and it tells you that at the bottom here, that the price includes accessories, but notice I'm not showing the accessories. I left accessories showing on one of these. Let's find it. I think I did. Yep, right here. So this Sony piece there is listing the accessories beneath it, the wires for this. The price still includes the accessories up here, but that's all changeable via those parameters. I can say, nope, show the price of this device and then show the individual pricing of these as well. Really up to you. There's another one of those expanded. And then at the very end, you get like a summary here, and then the big summary where equipment, any miscellaneous parts adjustments or discounts that you've added, labor, a sales tax, and a grand total. And this is a presentation tool that you can PDF this, send it over to your client. We have a customer portal where this can be published, and then they can electronically go out there and view this and accept or reject or give you notes. It all depends on how you want to present this to your client, but we give you the professional documentation directly out of our software. Now, I'm going to jump over to drawings very quickly. I have essentially a copy of the same project, but done in Visio. And I'm going to pull up the Visio interface here, and here's my project editor for that. Very similar. You'll see it's the same rooms over here and locations. The difference is this project is approved, and that's what this little check mark means here. And when you approve a project, we lock everything down inside of this project as far as pricing changes go. So if you need to remove or add anything, you're going to have to create a change order. We'll get to that in a second, but I just wanted to explain the difference why you're seeing this little approval here. But this is directly in Visio. So this is part of the Visio shell, and I just shut everything by mistake here. Hold on. We'll pull that back up, and then the project editor. I shouldn't shake my mouse so much. And what we're looking at here, I'm going to start you, let's go here to a line diagram. So there are 4 page types that we do in Visio. There are really 3 that we do in AutoCAD, this one not being one in AutoCAD because this uses graphics, like the little thumbnails for these products. You can also use a large image here to make it clearer, but we have a setting for that. But I want to show you, it is a drag and drop interface. Before I do that, these are the shapes that are a part of SI. Our Visio interface. So we built these over the years, and you can see here, there's your J standard 710 shapes, and then other industries, NECA, NFPA for fire life safety, and then there's the SIA for security. So those are industry standards shapes that we've just added in here, and we've made them smart, meaning they do react to our data. Most of the shapes you see in this list are for plan view pages, which is a floor plan, that you're putting icons on top of. But this page, we have JPEG images. It's a great sales tool for you. Very easy to do, does not require much data. And what I mean by that is you don't need height, width, and depth on these or inputs and outputs. These aren't scaled. They're totally resizable should you choose to do that because it's just a picture, but it is linked to the product. If I double click this, it's going to open up that particular product in this project. And I have to pull this over here. This is see, it shows that it's an approved item. Here's the component ID. That's its unique identifier. This is very useful on drawings, and we do display that, and it's how we report back for wire connections. But it is a linked product here. It's not just an image. That's the beauty of SI. So if I pull up this project editor here, and I'm going to quickly collapse this, I need to go to the computer instruction lab, I think, and I need to pull this TV over. This is the one that we added earlier in the other job. Here's the TV. I'm simply going to drag it over and drop it. Okay, there we go. So you'll see over here that this dropped. And of course, like I said, I can resize it to match this one, draw a little line between it. Oftentimes our users don't use their wire shapes on this particular drawing. They're not even worried to do that. They'll just use a simple connector tool. Just grab this and do a quick little boom. And of course, I would clean that up a little bit better, make that the same size, but it's really easy to do. And so that is one page style that we do here. The other one is a floor plan. So this has a couple of floor plans inserted here and a bunch of wires run to it to some icons. I think this is a speaker layout. Let me zoom in. No, it's not. It's not a speaker layout. I don't know what these are. Let's find out. Let's open one up. So that's, again, the beauty here. Okay, so it's a data wiring location, a package here in the software. But notice everything is uniquely labeled here. This 210 WP54, 55, 56, 57, 58. That's because that's the component ID format that you set, and it's essentially your wire number 2. These are all your wire numbers sitting over here, and there's your head ends listed. Now, I wouldn't normally necessarily drop a display device here on this page, but I will. And I'm going to pull this over. And in this case, what's going to happen is it's connected with wires on another page in this drawing. So let me get rid of those, but it came with its wires already attached. But this is another option. We do have a scaled shape you can put on a floor plan. And that's what this TV did. It went into scale. I don't have to do that though. I can change it to any one of these basic icons that shows up better on my screen here, like a simple rectangle icon even. Those are not to scale, but at any point you can change a shape. Just so you see this. I can change this shape to anything I want. And I'll say, you know what, I'm gonna make it look like a star. I can save it as the default for this so it always remembers that, or do it for all these categories. So it's a really nice flexible software once you start using it. And there it is. It's the same device. It now just looks like a star, and that's gonna be my TV here, wherever I put it. Next page type, rack. This is called an elevation page, generally for rack elevations, front facing, or in this case, side views, because we have dimensions. So these are shapes that drop over here and scale. So if I just pull this up and show you our elevation shapes here, We built generic looks for amplifiers, mixers, receivers that will scale for you. If you don't like the fact that it's a generic look and doesn't look exactly like your product, you have the option to put a nice blank one in here, generic box if you want, or an elevation plane, your choice. I kind of like these images, but it's up to you. In the residential market, it's probably more popular. But that same TV, I'm going to drag it over. It's going to be big on this page, but it is to scale. This TV dropped here to scale. It read the dimensions. We have all kinds of properties on each shape here. In this case, the frame thickness, I can say 0.25 and shrink that down a little bit. But notice the overall size didn't change because we're reading the dimensions to scale this. So I'm going to open up this TV and just give you a quick demonstration of that. If I go to my specifications tab here, 66.3 inches. Well, I think it's 100 inches. And boom, it reacts to the changes. So these are really nice for, again, building rack elevations or showing, even like actual height of this TV needs to be mounted here. You can put a dimensioning tool here to show that. Over here, you can see we have a rack shape here that measures your rack units for you and displays them for your clients. Last but not least, a schematic page. The most powerful page here for doing drawings and documentation. This is where your wire schedules can come from. Let me zoom in here and see. I've got, again, the one TV is already here, so let's pull over the other one that I left blank for this example. And there we go. And let's get a wire over here. I'll just do one. Let's do this wire. I think it's an HDMI cable. Oops, did I forget to drag it? Sorry. Oh, there they are. Sorry. There they are. They're dragged over. I forgot they're connected on another page. So then if I just want to take this and attach it here, notice the little green connection. So that's now attached to this device. If I move this, it stays connected. You can move this wherever you want. It doesn't matter if it's pointed like that up any which way. And our wire shapes will automatically, jump over each other or add a little jump. I don't know if you guys can see that. Boom, there it goes. But this is not just a picture. We know that this wire, which is 210H05, is coming from this device to this device. And I can show you that on a report. So let's do that. This is the project editor for this that we've been looking at. I'm going to go to reports, and this time I'm just going to do it for just that current page. I want a wire connection for that drawing. So we'll do this, installation. Real quickly, of course, let me pull this over so you can see these. I have a wire checklist, wire connections reports. I've got wire terminal counts. Let's do a wire connections report by wire number. We'll do this. And it's going to generate, and I'm sure I'm going to have to drag it over here. No, it actually displayed. So what we're seeing here is I do have a wire on this pages, or two of them, that aren't connected to anything. Okay, that's a good heads up for me. I need to go make those connections. Some might only be connected on one end. Let's see. Nope, this one's pretty good. They're all connected except for those two wires there. But this is your wire checklist, where they're coming from and what connection, where they're going to and the connection, and the wire number. Huge time saver for you if you've ever had to write a wire schedule. The fun part of the job, is doing the drawings, right? This is fun. I like this part, and being able to lay this out, make the wire connections. I really don't want to go back through then and read this and then write everything out in Excel so the text in the field can, where everything's connected. I like to push a button and run a report and say, there's where everything's connected. And then, oh, by the way, here's your wire labels for this as well. Because we have all of those reports and tools directly inside of SI. So that's a little brief overview of drawings here. But let's talk managing projects, right? Let's go back here to the Project Explorer. Now, we have different explorers for all of our entities in the software, but what's really nice is from the Project Explorer, which projects are truly your main entity out here. I think you guys have seen that. You build this project, it's got your bucket of parts in it. It may be associated with a drawing, may not. I sell that. Great, I've got my parts list here. Now what? Well, a lot of our users at this point will invoice their clients. So they're going to push the project over to QuickBooks as an estimate, the bill of materials. We have that integration. It's lovely, it's fast, it's great. And it takes your bill of materials or whatever you choose, just my rough-in items, and push those to QuickBooks. as an estimate, and then from there I can bill my client and do, as I always put it, QuickBooky stuff, the accounting stuff. Me personally, I don't care one bit about accounting. I don't want to learn accounting. It's not me. My my brain's not functioned like that. So that's someone else's job. I did mine. Now you take this over to QuickBooks and do your stuff. But a lot of you, as you know, you're maybe you're doing everything. We've all been there, the multiple hats in a company. So maybe you're doing the purchase orders, and maybe you don't use QuickBooks for purchasing, or you don't use QuickBooks at all. So once you get paid something, usually that's the case, right? I want to get some money out of this. You might want to create purchase orders out here. So my point being is, from this project management, we have all of these little sub tabs for each project down here for all the major entities: change orders, tasks, service orders, service plans, and purchase orders. So purchase orders again allow you to let's do one. Let's do a new purchase order just real quickly to look at this. Purchase order, pick a vendor. We'll go good stuff, real cheap. Let's go to items and add the items. Now you can add from the project. You can add from multiple projects out here if you want. And in our latest release here in V14, we created the ability to create bulk purchase orders for multiple projects at a time, or just one project at a time, but for all the vendors that you have in there. It used to be one by one prior to V14, but we automated that quite a bit in this release for you. But here, if I want to add from the project, I can either see them as units or I can see quantities. Useful tool here. Like if I know I'm ordering everything, I'm going to go summarized, cleaner view. If I know I'm not, if you know, I've got, there's 30 speakers in this job, but I only need 15 of those. Now we're not going to do the other ones for 2 months. I'm not going to buy those now. You could do units and then pick and choose. But real quickly, it's just telling me the project checked out to me. Here's my list of vendors in this particular project. The ones assigned to this vendor we're filtered to, or I could see everything in this project and filter as needed. But I'll pick these two things and add them. But just so you see, we can create purchase orders here. You can run a report for this. We even have a vendor portal where you can publish this out for your vendors to approve this or not and communicate electronically, similar to the customer portal I spoke about earlier. So other things that you can do. So you purchase the products. What's next? Let's install this stuff. Let's create a task. And a task here, I have a bunch listed here, and I'm probably gonna have to clean this up as we go, guys, for my previous demo. But tasks, what is it? Well, it's just another entity in the software where you're going to assign it to resources or technicians, installers, whatever your term is, and add the parts that need to be installed. And we'll come back and talk about that. But prior to this, you might want to plan your project depending on the size of it. And we do have Gantt charts for that. Bear with me while I open the Gantt view. Let's see if it opens on this screen. It does not. Okay. I'm just getting rid of what's in here because I'm going to start fresh. So this is our Gantt view for this project. I'm sure all of you are familiar or have seen Gantt charts before. You make a list of tasks over here, planning tasks, and then you can mark them out over here, move them where they need to be, start date, end date, and all that. The beauty of our software here too is it's not just a planning task, or it doesn't have to be just a planning task here. Once you're happy, you can take these planning tasks and create real tasks or scheduled tasks over in SI. And those were the entities I was just speaking about and showing you the tab for, where you add resources to that, and then you can publish a mobile install. They can answer questions. You know, did it get installed? What were the problems? And all that information comes back down to the task and the project. But to build a Gantt chart, you can build these from scratch. Just add a task here. And again, this is a planning task. It's not creating over there as scheduled yet. You can create these all day long and then move them as needed, stretch them out. And this one's going to be like there. Of course, now I've done something wrong here because of my working hours. So let's cancel that. Dragged it the wrong way. But let's go ahead and delete this out. And I'm going to show you the new feature here that we did as far as linking it over to the other parts of SI. And that's adding from a project or adding from a checklist. Now, I haven't even gotten a checklist yet, but you'll see them in just a second. But let's add from project first, maybe. You have three choices here. The three real major groupings: phase, remember that was per item, how labor is charged; system or location. A lot of you aren't going to install by location or system. It's going to be a mixed bag of what you're doing on any given day on a job site. We're well aware of that. So you may just want to start your planning with the phases. The beauty of doing this is we know the hours. It's estimated in our software. Those are your budgeted hours as far as we're concerned. So when you select these and add them, I now have my phases here with a budgeted hours that just automatically sets the duration here. And then from here, I can go in and move things around as needed, but this is saying that's how many hours there are. Now, that's not going to be sufficient for me to schedule this, mind you. So what I would do is there's a bunch of subtasks in my rough-in phase that we have to do. So again, you can either insert a task manually beneath this, or you can insert, say, from a checklist. These are the new feature that we added here, and they're customizable checklists. And I told you earlier, the primary function of these is to add to a project or a task or a service order. This is what needs to be done. And projects can have multiple checklists. It could be a pre-sales checklist, a post-sales checklist, an engineering checklist, you name it, a commissioning checklist. This can all be parts of a project here. But these can also be used, as I said, to build a task list very quickly. That's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to choose my new construction rough-in. And then I'm going to go here and choose what I want. Now, in this checklist, I put the word rough-in, and then I put these as subs beneath that. Oh, I already have rough-in out here, so I'm going to skip it in this case. But if I were adding this to a project, I may want the word rough-in there. So I have some organization. I'm just going to go down this list. I'm not going to skip any. I'll just get them all. You can move these up and down in the list prior to adding them out here, which is important because once they're added out here, you're stuck in that position. But let's go ahead and hit finish. These came in. And maybe I want to put these under my rough-in. These are my rough-in. So when I indent those, this becomes a summary task. These are now your true other planning tasks. And you can do what you want with these. You can stretch these. Again, move the date if you want. And of course, this reacts to that. Pull this out. That one's going to take longer, and it changes your duration out here. But again, the real cool thing, though, as I keep bringing it up, is tasks used to be created one by one for a project out there. Now I can simply take these, should I choose to, and say convert these to SI tasks. Yep. And then as soon as I save this, I'll just save it here before I close it. There's my task numbers over in SI. Those were just created all at once. And then now from there, I can decide who my resources are and all that. Now, obviously, my demonstration here was terrible because I didn't schedule these dates yet. I didn't move them where they're supposed to be. I probably shouldn't have created this, but I'm not going to take the time here and plan this out for you guys. I just wanted to show you the new feature of Gantt charts inside of SI. Really excited about bringing that back. So many of our users can stop yelling at me at every trade show for not having Gantt charts. Okay, so and that's a task. So here's the tasks that were created. Now these then, of course, as I said, if you've chosen proper dates, you can assign a resource to those and schedule it out to mobile install. They can mark the stuff as installed, and it can synchronize back down here to SI. Real quickly, I'll show you mobile install actually, but I'm going to do it with a service order. We got one here. I'm going to delete that out of here, and then we'll just start over with it. So a service order. Let's say I'm going to create one, and now again, this would be a job that's one, so I probably should pick a different project, right? This one's one, or it's completed. The one when you're doing a service order, it's a completed job, but I don't know if I feel like finding one of those right now. So I'll just stick with the one I'm using here. And what we're going to do is create a service order. And service orders are one of the few things in our software that don't have to be associated with a project if you don't want to. But since I'm doing it from here, it automatically assumes I am doing it for this project. But it could just be a client name here. Some project you did years ago, and they're not in SI. But I'm sorry, the project's not in SI, but the client is. You can create service orders for that. And a service order can be anything. It could be, something broke. That's the most common one. This doesn't work. Come out and fix it. Projector bulb blew, whatever. They can also be used, like a wellness check. And that can be something you may have sold them on a service plan, the other entity out here that we have. We haven't even gotten into those too much other than what you heard me say earlier for the AV as a service. I'm selling you this job, but now do you want monitoring? Do you want, again, wellness checks, other things like that? I want to sell you a service because I don't know any of you that don't like recurring revenue. It's a good thing. So a wellness check here. Now there's a bunch of tabs, the address, contact. I don't want to bore you with all that. I'm just going to assign a resource to this, me. since I'm the one doing this demo and I have to log in. And then the new feature here being a checklist. So prior to this, service orders mostly started just like I did here, but maybe you got to give a description here. What's wrong, or complete these steps, or follow the manual checklist that you have for doing this thing. That's where you would give them instructions. You could even use a notes tab, which is bigger, if you want to add a bunch of stuff out here. But what's the technique to do? Oftentimes it's like, TV not working. Well, good. They go out in the field, they fix it. They can tell you from mobile install what they did, add their notes, synchronize back down. But I do want to add a checklist here since it's a new feature. And believe it or not, I have a system wellness check in this list. So there we go. This is a checklist now, how we intended these to be used before we said, hey, we should use these on Gantt charts too. But it's a electronic checklist, essentially. It's did it get completed? We can mark it that. It marks who did it. You can change the status here manually to on hold, and we'll flag that. And so it's easy for someone that comes in to see this and go, oh, we got a problem here. What's this? They can add notes here. And again, now this is all inside of SI, so I'm not going to do any of that stuff. The point I want to show you is your technicians likely won't even be in SI. They won't have any a login here at all. A project manager is going to create tasks and service orders, service manager, and publish these out to mobile install. The technicians will be notified via email that they've got tasks. It hits their calendar. They're able to add it to their calendar. But really, it's publishing out to our mobile install site. So let me do that. So many times at trade shows, we don't have internet connection in our booth, so I can never show this cool stuff. So Viva virtual trade shows. Let this be the future. This is publishing out there, and here's a list of stock reports. You don't have to publish any of these out. The reports for this are almost redundant at this point if you're using mobile install, at least our stock ones. These were here for the paper trail back in the day. We've been doing this stuff for a long time, but mobile install really has changed a lot of the way our users work. And you can choose whether or not you're publishing that checklist. Totally optional, but of course I want to do that, and I want to show you all this. So this has been published out to mobile install, and I'm simply going to take you there. Let me refresh my function F5. Let's refresh this thing. So now there we go. I have a not started one sitting out here. That would be the one I just put out there. So that's kind of a dashboard when your techs log in out here in mobile install. And if I haven't said this, which I don't think I have, this is not an app. This is a web-based interface. So your technicians don't have to have a particular device. Really, it needs a web browser and an internet connection, and you can connect out here. So just keep that in mind. It's not an app. Well, I mean, everything's an app, and it's just short for application, but it's a website. That's all I'll say. What is an app? So anyways, over here is the service order itself. So all of these tabs correspond, most of them I should say, with what you saw back in SI. There's a few new ones out here that are going to sync back, like site items if they add anything on site, any site notes, site images. And these are all true for tasks too. You can say, well, hey, we did the rack install. Good, take a picture, send that back down. And all of the files that they attach out here, like images and documents, those can all synchronize back down to SI to your projects folder. So you have a centralized place for that. But my point of showing this out here, service orders, like I said, usually aren't that exciting. It's, okay, we fixed stuff. Here are the notes on this. But I did want to show you this checklist tab here, that this is available out here, so they can do the same thing that we did over there. On hold, there's that. And I'll just do a few more. They can add notes. I'm not going to take the time to type anything here. I'm just going to put, anything real. I'm just going to slam my hand on the keyboard. Let's save this. And before I go back, I'm just going to put this as in progress. We didn't finish it, right? So we're in progress. Back in SI, let's go. And I'm going to open this. What this is going to do automatically is synchronize out there to mobile install. And we're going to see just a few changes on here because I didn't do much, but it's in progress now. So that changed here. And the checklist here. There's my nonsense writing. There's my flag here because I was put on hold. So that is a checklist. And as I mentioned, you can add those directly to projects too. This is the projects checklist. You can have multiple for a project. So that's one of the new features there. Okay, we are dangerously low on time. I think this was scheduled for an hour, but I'm going to keep talking, and y'all can drop out whenever you want. This is being recorded, so we'll put this out on YouTube and our site, our website later. But I do want to talk about business analytics very quickly. It's a really, really powerful new feature, and it is a revamp of what I told you earlier, dashboards that we used to have. But let me take you out here to business analytics. It is its own window here, and we added a bunch of fields inside of V14 to account for this. I mentioned them earlier. Leads, the concept of leads and prospects. It's a type on a client, so we can know what's a lead, what's a prospect. This concept of opportunities. Versus a project. A project, now we're considering these are the one marked as a one state. The opportunities are the ones you saw earlier with that percentage. So we'll do the math out here for you based on your percentages to try to give you some sort of view here. So let's do opportunities by sales rep, and you can mouse over these and see that the average of the projected price, and here's the average of the profit. And these are all stock that we ship the software with, these lists. So I'll leave this up here while I'm talking, but let me collapse these just so you see we have a bunch of different entities, just same entities in our software, the change orders, purchase orders, tasks, service orders, service plans. So you can run analytics across any of these, and that's expanding into that was really powerful. But what we also did is we now no longer require that things out here be a chart. This is just one style. We added a list style as well. So when you're creating a new business analytic here, it's either a chart or a list. I haven't shown you a list yet, but I will. But charts, you pick your entity for a project. Projects have the most fields. You get to pick what type of chart you want, give it a name, choose your groupings here. These are the groupings, your data sets, and then if you this is a record count one. Let's go cost with tax, and then you get to pick sum, average, min, max there. But the real powerful thing are the filters here. This used to, in a previous version, this was just a set list of filters that we chose, and it wasn't very extensive. It was just, here are the fields that we think that you would use. Now we open this up to, well, all fields for a project and operators and values, and it's an extremely powerful query is what this is, and it will get you the exact data you need at any time. Now these business analytics aren't going to mean the same to everybody in your company, and I keep using the word, but this is a mixed crowd here. I said that because some of you might be new to D-Tools and SI. Some of you may be existing users, but you're also different roles. I'm sure I'm talking to engineers, sales, possibly project managers, business owners. I don't know your roles right now. So what you set up for your business analytics when you start creating your custom ones and the stuff you want to see out here is really going to be relevant to your role. A project manager will need to see certain things. A service manager will need to see different things. So we gave you the flexibility to build these out here. Our stock ones are not editable, that it'll save. So, if I'm here and I change this to something else, it doesn't remember that the next time you come into the software. If you always want it to be a bar, clone it, create a custom one, give it a new name, make your changes, and you've got your custom analytic. I quickly want to show you a list type. This is all my pending change orders in the software right now. So this view was not available in the past. You could view which change orders you have for each project, but we had no global view for this, and this is huge for a lot of our project managers out there that have been talking to us to improving our management tools. Is, oh man, we need to know how many pending change orders there are. I need to know if I need to follow up, and this is the stock one we have with these columns, but you can absolutely create your own custom one. So what a list type looks like, and I'll do it for a project just because there's more fields, but here, these are your columns. Put them over here. Put them in the order you want them in. Choose a sorting if you want, and put them in the order you want. Then again, that powerful filter, that query is available here. So very, very powerful tools. What I'm going to leave you with here then, because of time, is a little bit more about business analytics, but I'm going to close out of this and go back to my homepage. So the other thing that we did, another feature based on our business analytics, is give you the ability to add business analytics to this page, up to 6 of them. So you can view them every time you open the software, rather than seeing this. This is a web page, by the way, that we change occasionally, but not too often. But instead of seeing this, you can see your business analytics each time you log in, and that's where it gets very specific to each user. I am a project manager. I want to see these things, or I need to see these things. Well, I'm a service manager. I need to see these. Hey, I'm a sales rep. This is what's important to me. So everyone, based on their permissions, will be able to create their own custom business analytics and set this page up for that. There's multiple places you can do it. In fact, we prompt you each time you log in the software till you tell us to stop prompting you, or you do it. Like, do you want to choose your analytics for here? But since I'm already in the software, I'm just going to go up to my username here and go to Homepage Analytics, and I'm going to put them in here. I'm going to do a leads count by lead source. I'm going to do a prospects count by owner. Projects, opportunities, profit by sales rep. And then my list one I just showed you that I like. There, I'm only going to do 4. You can put up to 6. Save it. Close this. Business analytics, and this is what we'll show each time. You can change the view of these on the fly here, but as I said, it won't save the next time. If you do want to change it, go customize this, go change it. But I can easily click this down and say, oh, I want to see that as a pie chart. Oh, okay, cool. And then maybe if I prefer that further, I'll go create this as a pie chart. I'll clone it and say, you're now a pie chart every time, and you're going to show up on my screen here. The nice thing here too, that if some of these are hard to read, now again, I've got a nice big monitor here and there's not that much data here. It can get crazy with some of our users. This list, depending on how many sales reps you have, this can be huge. It's going to be like, oh man, I may not want to read that in this view. You can double click in here and it will take you into the own window, or its own window out here, Business Analytics Explorer, and run that for you so you can view it in a much larger area. These though, if you double click anything in here, whether it's a change order, a project task, whatever you've run, it will open up that entity for you in the software. So I can directly see like this one. If I double click it, it's going to come here to my project tabs. You want to check it out? Sure. And that's checking in and out of the server, just one of our concepts in the software. And this will open up. It's calling it a project here, but it is a change order. And I'll just pull it over here so you can see it. It's a change order. It's been filtered down to just what was changed. In this case, a bunch of parts were added. And this is a pending change order waiting for approval. So, all right, close out of that. Let's go back to my home page here. And I just want to thank everyone for attending. Appreciate your attention through all this. I hope you're as excited about this software as I am. And want to mention one last thing here. Is CEDIA shows specials here. So we are offering 10% off an SI annual subscription and 10% off PSG packages. That's our professional services group. So if you are new, you may want training. It's always a good idea. It's really get the most bang for your buck with some very quick training from our team. Saves you a lot of time just figuring things out on your own. Yeah, and also visit our video lounges. This is a virtual trade show, CEDIA 2020 here. So we have a booth, a virtual booth. You can go visit and talk to our team if you have any other questions. What you also see on here is 10% off D-Tools Cloud. So that's another product of ours. I am not the product manager of that. Nick Powers is, and it's a different product than SI. It is a web-based quoting, and there's some design work out there as well, so you can do some drawings. And really, the goal out there is to help you win projects fast. Your sales team may prefer that the D-Tools Cloud versus all the power of the engineering and project management of SI. So we've recently put out a integration between the two, though. So it's great. You can have sales reps in your company working from D-Tools Cloud. They sell the job with these multimedia presentations and very cool stuff that they can do out in their software. And as soon as they win the project, they export it over to SI, or I should say we import it from cloud into System Integrator. And from there, we mark it as approved, and it becomes, at that point, you can do your engineer drawings over here in SI, should you choose to do them, or just manage that project. Maybe you want to create your purchase orders over in SI, start scheduling tasks using our Gantt ability. So, Now, D-Tools Cloud has been out for a few years now. As I mentioned in the beginning of this, D-Tools and SI, System Integrator, we've been around over 20. I think it's almost 22 years at this point. So we have a huge head start on our cloud team there as far as features go, but they are rapidly catching up with us. And it is cloud-based. That's the beauty of it. So there's a lot of flexibility out there that we don't have in our platform here. I have no problem admitting that. So two wonderful products. Check them out. There will be a demo later today in our booth at 3 p.m. for D-Tools Cloud. So if you haven't signed up for that, you might want to check out that as an option if you're still shopping for software and you're not already an existing client. And it looks like there's a happy hour tonight at 6 p.m., a virtual happy hour. All right. Join our community. There's, you can always email sales@dtools.com. Visit our website, dtools.com, d-tools.com. We have free trials out there. Check it out, either cloud or SI. You can try them both. Check out and see what's going to be the best fit for your company. Again, thank you everyone for attending. I hope you have a great CEDIA.